Hello, I'm Niall O'Driscoll of the Southern Star, and I'm joined here today by Declan McCarthy, one of the organisers of Skibbereen Arts Festival, just to tell us about this year's 10th anniversary festival, some of the programme highlights, and that kind of stuff generally. Declan, tell us all about it.
How's it going?
What's on the cards for the 10th anniversary?
Sure, yeah, 10th anniversary, I suppose, when we started this festival back in 2009, Skibbereen, like most of the country, was kind of grim. You know, the crash had just happened and shops were closing down and people were leaving towns, and in many ways it was probably a crazy idea to start an arts festival.
Sure.
But looking back now over the last 10 years, I think it was perfect time, because I think the festival and the town itself, you know, have kind of helped each other.
Sure.
To come out of that kind of time and have they're both thriving now.
Sure. I suppose in times of recession or whatever, things like the arts and whatever bring people on a little bit or whatever, kind of psychologically there.
Yeah, and even
spiritually.
Exactly. Good for our spirits, you know, and good for, in so many ways.
Sure.
They're good for us, whether it's singing a song or looking at a painting or seeing a film. You know, they just get the juices flowing and maybe forget about the everyday humdrum stuff.
Sure.
Bring us out of it a bit.
Sure.
So yeah, we're delighted to reach 10 years. And I suppose part of it this year is to look back over the last 10 years, but also it's really focused on looking forward and what it'll be like in 10 years' time.
Brilliant.
The town will be like, what the festival will be like.
Brilliant.
And stuff.
Brilliant. So, anything that we should know about highlights-wise for this year?
Sure, it's just full of highlights. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Like one thing, I suppose that our main headline act this year is the African duo Amadou and Mariam and the Blind Boys of Alabama.
Wow.
They're doing a show together.
Brilliant.
And I was looking at the dates there yesterday of their tour. So they're playing, it's all major cities, like Madrid and London and Dublin and Amsterdam, and there in the middle of it is like Skibbereen.
Fantastic.
So it's great to get them. They're doing 2 nights. Yeah, I suppose that over the last few years, and again, any festival that I think you kind of you grow a little bit every year rather than trying to do it all
in one go.
It kind of, I think it has a better lasting effect. So the last few years we've gone a little bit, not necessarily bigger, but a little bit higher profile, I suppose, each year, which is good. And they're a great name to have in the poster.
Sure.
And funnily, total coincidence with it, if you look at the poster, the first 2 names, you'll see Amadou and Mariam and the Blind Boys of Alabama, and then you'll see the Blind Boy Live podcast.
Brilliant.
And that's just coincidence. It's not like
similar in name, but 2 very different events.
Very different events, yeah. The Blind Boy podcast is great. I was saying to someone, it really kind of, it's the essence of what our festival is, I think, because it's entertaining, it's thought-provoking, and he's a great take on mental health and well-being. And that's what we've always tried from day one. It's been our main theme, is to showcase how good the arts are for all of us. Not just for people who are experiencing difficulties. We all have those difficulties, all of us, from time to time. And the arts, whether it's sitting back watching it or dressing up as a spaceman and participating in it, it's good for all of us.
And with things like that, like that opening event, which this year is themed as Moon Dance, that street closure and everybody gets dressed up. Yeah. It has been a fantastic event.
It has, yeah.
Previous years.
I suppose the first time we did it was in 2015 for the Donovan Rossa pageant, and I think that was a major moment in the evolution of the festival, because we hadn't a clue how I remember at 5 o'clock in the evening thinking this could be a total disaster.
Sure.
But the whole town bought into it, and definitely there was a buzz created by it. It was the same year that Ludgate opened, the same week.
Yes.
And then within, shortly after, the 2 lads won the silver medal in Rio.
Sure.
And the whole thing, kind of the combination of those things, I think gave Skib a big lift, and I think it hasn't looked back since. So those events, the 60s night we had, the 70s night, it's really encouraging to see everyone dress up. And some of those people, like it created I suppose a greater awareness of our festival as well,
And this year the theme is
the
moon and space and stuff.
Because it's, I think the week before the festival starts is the actual anniversary of the moon landings, which was I suppose in 1,000 years' time, if you look back at the 20th century, it's probably mankind's greatest achievement.
Sure.
And we want to kind of commemorate that. It ties in with our thing about looking back, but also looking forward. And we have a few other events around it, like we're showing a film earlier that day, and we have a great film the following night, Gravity, out in the Wall Garden in Lizard.
Brilliant.
to tie in, yeah, we've got lots of stuff coming on the day. We'll be announcing that shortly on the actual event itself, the Moon Dance. But I suppose the biggest thing about it is that it's great fun. Everyone loves dressing up, and everyone does buy into it.
And it's a full-on family event as well.
Full-on family event, loads of stuff for kids, and it just gets them connected with the arts. And if, I suppose our thing, again, like if there was one kid there, who turns out to become an artist because of this is their kind of introduction, and it's a great legacy to have, I suppose.
And the festival again this year and in previous years, it's a full-on broad spectrum across the arts.
Yeah,
it's music, it's visual arts, it's film,
I mean,
it's sound. It's
a bit of a cliche to say it's something for everyone, but I think there is. Like if you're into visual art, there's pop-up exhibitions all over town, as well as the main hub, the Uillinn Arts Centre. But if you're into theatre, there's 10 plays I think this year. Some of them in unusual venues, like we're doing one down in Fields Bakery, where a guy bakes bread, and the audience sit around and churn butter while they're watching the play.
Fantastic.
And those kind of quirky things add to it, but some great films. We've got a couple of, I think, our Irish premieres. One is certainly a Republic of Ireland premiere called Irene's Ghost, and it's about a guy who's a filmmaker, but when he was 3, his mother died, and his father never spoke about her. And it turns out that she was institutionalised, and it was never spoken about. And the film, it's won awards all over the UK, but it's the first time being shown in Ireland, and it's supposed to be amazing. And there's another one called Artificial, about the damage that fish farming is doing, and made by it's been shown in Patagonia shops around the world. But I've seen the trailer; it looks incredible, and it kind of ties in with what we should all be about here in West Cork. That kind of sustainable environment, looking after our planet, really. Sure.
And the festival, again, it's very much a community for the community, but it's also driven by the community. And in terms of people getting involved or volunteers or their openings,
we have a great bunch of volunteers, and we're always looking for more. So please get in touch. It like again, I suppose part of so we're down here in the very tip of the country. We're a long way. It's a bit of an effort to get here, but West Cork is full of art. It's full of artists. This year, a thing we're particularly proud of, I suppose, is we've invited 10 other festivals in the region to co-curate an event. So we have Clonakilty Guitar Festival or Fast and Film Festival, Cape Clear Storytelling, 10 of them coming together, and it's a celebration of the region, and the community, and we've always endeavoured as well. We don't get huge funding. We're getting a little bit more funding every year. We doubled our funding from the Arts Council this year, which is great. But in relative to the bigger arts festivals, we get very little funding, but we still want to, and have always kind of tried to keep ticket prices to a minimum, so that it is accessible to everyone. You don't have to have a bulging wallet to go to 3 or 4 events during the arts festival. And there's also loads of free events. So great support by the community. The town have really got behind it over the last few years, the businesses in town. And like you said, we're always looking for people that might be just sitting in, looking after an exhibition, or it might be helping us to hang a bit of bunting around the town. Or one other exhibition this year I might mention is Michael Minahan, the photographer who passed away this year. His family have kindly allowed us to display a selection of his photos. So there's some great photos from the 50s and 60s. Great history of the town. Yeah. And those town events, there was one a few years ago called the People's Museum of Skibbereen.
That's right.
Those events are great and very important as well, and the arts isn't all about fancy stuff, it's all very local as well. And commemorating kind of and looking back, and so hopefully there is something for everyone, whether you're 8 or 80.
Brilliant. When does it take place?
It takes place on Friday the 26th of July until Sunday the 4th of August.
Brilliant.
10 days, so I think over 10 years it's been 100 days and nights, and it's lots of great memories and very exciting about the future as well.
And if people want to get in touch or they want to find out more, where can they go?
They can call you, Niall. No, we have a website, I suppose, skibbereenartsfestival.com. We'll be in the town hall there starting next weekend. We'll be open there as our box office. But just drop us a line to Facebook or Instagram, whatever. Drop us a line, and because I suppose again reaching the 10 years, and there's been a few of us involved over the past 10 years, but I think we would like to hand it over. So not necessarily to stop being involved, but to get new people, the next generation that would take this festival on. When when all of us involved are long gone, or sitting down in our slippers and enjoying retirement, we would hope to see Skibbereen Arts Festival continue to grow and grow, and be there for the next 100 years.
Fantastic.
Yeah.